Hey you guys, welcome back to CTV. My name is Kalandra. This is the place to be, especially if you want to watch great videos. And this is like my 7th attempt filming this video because this is my first ever story time, and I just want it to be done right, and I don't want to make mistakes, and I want to make sure I include every single detail from my point of view and the person's point of view, which is very much included in this story. So this is going to be about the time that I cussed out a customer. I never cussed out a customer before, but I had a reason. Like, looking back on the situation, yes, I could have handled it differently. Absolutely. Like, I probably shouldn't have used the words that I've used. However, would I have still stood up for myself? Absolutely, because when it comes down to it, I don't care if you're a manager, employee, customer, no matter where I work at, just be respectful. Don't call me out of my name. Don't put your hands on me. That's like another rule. Luckily, there was no violence in this situation. I was eating Cheetos, so you might see some red on my fingers, but yeah, luckily there was no violence in the situation, even though these people really needed to be slapped in the face. And yeah, they were pretty much a Karen and Bob put together. So yes, I had my Karen moment, and I didn't take their shit. So it is what it is. But anyway, I'm about to go read this review. I've written it down word by word, exactly how she said it. Her grammar is all types of fucked up. And yeah, I just written it all down because I'm filming on my phone, so it's not like I can have my camera and then my phone next to me as I'm reading it. And I'm also going to put it on the screen just so y'all know I didn't customize anything or anything. I just, wrote it down straight up how she said it. And I also will insert a picture, a little drawing, but it's gonna make sense as I tell the story. So let me get into it. So let me get into character and make myself look a little entitled real quick. She had a ponytail. Her hair was kind of like curly-ish, and they were both entitled white people. This is not against white people. I just don't like entitled white people. So if you're not entitled, this doesn't apply to you. And she had on glasses. So I'm gonna get into her character real quick. And hopefully my glasses are on straight because I have a wig on. So, okay. Get into character. Hello, my name is AC. Her initials is what I'm going to be using. My family and I, quotation, boyfriend and 2 kids, we're literally trying to enjoy dinner at our usual choice of restaurant until it ended to turn out differently. As we got there, we were told it would be about 5 to 10 minutes, which we were waited to be seated. Literally, right next to 2 other tables. I then stated that we were not sitting there due to it being nothing but a cluster. The one table that was just ahead of us agreed, so I asked to sit at the other table nearly 2 tables away. The host that took us to the table wasn't responsive and started to get frazzled and wasn't really telling us where to go. She then began to clean up this one table off and set it up so we sat down. Within maybe 10 minutes, the host came back with another couple, quotation table, people, to sit in the exact table we requested not to. I noticed the table next to it then began to get irritated. Within 5 or so minutes after the server came by the last, big letters, I repeat, last table that was sat. Not the first, not us, the second, the last. Then the one table began to gather the things and leave. We followed after them. We followed afterwards. We had little kids, children, needed their dinner ASAP. As we proceeded to leave, the manager, I believe, tried to stop us. We were fed up. We come here almost every week or so. It was just ridiculous. In addition, I wanted to add that regardless, your host that day exchanged hostile words, reactions towards my family with my kids present, using words like MF. Can't cuss on here, but yeah, I said motherfucker. I was just going to say this once. I've worked in restaurants for 14 years, including currently at one of the most popular in Silverdale, Washington. I never experienced anything like what we dealt with yesterday evening. Thanks again. And then my manager gonna write this bullshit. Team, I would like to remind everyone this type of language is unacceptable at any time from anyone. This is not the message or welcoming we want our guests to receive. Okay. Let me go back to the beginning real quick. Let me take these off. And get back to me. So I'm gonna tell you my side of the story and where she had me fucked up at. Messed up at. Because she left out a very important detail as to why I reacted the way I did. But let me start from, the beginning. I go to work. It is a Saturday evening. Saturdays at the restaurant that I worked at get very, very, very hectic. And often I don't work Saturdays because I usually switch with somebody and then I take whatever shift that they want me to take. I try to avoid Saturdays as much as possible. They get insane. The restaurant will be packed with people all up in the front. People will get attitudes. Co-workers always get snappy with one another. It's always drama every Saturday, and then by Monday I'll be the one hearing about it. It does involve me sometimes. I get into it with the co-workers there because people on Saturdays, they go crazy, okay? I try to avoid all that because I don't like confrontation. I hate confrontation. But at the same time, I'm the type of person who will still stand up for myself because I don't tolerate disrespect from people. I just don't. So, yeah, on this Saturday, I wasn't able to get this one off, but I was working with this one host, and then usually on Saturdays, it will be 3 hosts. It'll be 1 lead host. The host I was working with was the lead host. She was working there for about a year or so. She worked there way longer than me. I was there in probably 4.5 to 5 months at the time. And usually I don't do the seating arrangement. It's not that I can't, but it does get overwhelming, and you can't mess up if you're not, practicing it a lot. It's a lot of people. A lot of the tables are taken. You gotta worry about the rotation, and it's easier to do on in a regular day, but on a weekend it can be a little hard. And yes, I worked at a restaurant before, but in Virginia, things are just not as crowded as they are in Washington. And also at the restaurant I was working at, they don't do wait times as often as the restaurants back at home do. Usually if the kitchen is getting too overwhelmed, that's when we kind of have to stop seating people, even if there's still tables. But at this one, it's every table almost has to be sat. So yeah, it can get a little, crazy. But I'm not usually the lead host. She was the lead host, and there's usually me or another person that's there. We'll go back and forth between seating the people and doing the to-go orders. So I think it was already somebody doing to-go orders, or they weren't there yet, because I just remember it being me and her. So yeah, so I'm over here dealing with my people and seating people and everything, and she was the one who spoke to these people first, and the people who wrote the review. So yeah, she tells them how long they're going to be waiting, and as their turn comes, I go ahead and seat them. As I'm on my way to the table that she tells me to seat them at, I go and get the high chairs. because I had to get 2 high chairs. So first I grabbed one and I was thinking of like coming back, but then I was just like, no, I'm gonna get the second one. And as I'm ready to grab the second one, like the lady already had an attitude and she was like, no, we need 2 high chairs. And so as I grabbed the second one, her boyfriend, who was nice at the time, offered to help grab the other high chair. So I carried one and he carried the other. So we were on our way to the table that the hostess I was working with told me to seat them at. And I'm gonna include a picture of how everything is set up in this section, and so y'all can understand, you know. So let me include the picture. Okay, so hopefully y'all understand, but was it a cluster? I mean, not really, because she still had enough room to get up if she needed. Like, yeah, they were a little close together because the other table was a large family, but it's not like it's anything too crazy. Like, if you need to get up, you have a little bit of space. What do you expect on a Saturday? Like, if you come there often, you should know on Saturdays it's packed. Like, so who are you to tell the host, the person that works there, or I'm not sitting there? Like, if you go to a restaurant, we have our seating arrangements for a reason, whether it's to make sure the servers have a fair amount of people, make sure, you know, they're all equally getting money, and to have a fair rotation. It's for a reason. We're not doing this to be spiteful. We're not doing this to be mean. We're not doing this to make you have a hard time. So, you know, her acting like that is just completely entitled. That's exactly what she was acting like. So I, you know, proceeded to put the menus on the table, and she just continued to still not want to sit at the table. And then she says, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm not sitting there. It's too much. It's too much. It's just too much. It's too much. This was before social distancing was a thing. The COVID situation just happened, like literally just happened at this time. Nobody knew that it was going to get like this, and the breakout only happened in Seattle. I don't live in Seattle. So yeah, it was very new. So it was kind of safe at that time. So, you know, I was not unresponsive. You know, I tell them that the table is obviously dirty. If I sit them at a dirty table, I can get in a lot of trouble. And it just looks unprofessional. Like, who goes to a restaurant and gets sat at a dirty table? Let me know if that ever happened to you and why. It's just unprofessional. It's, you know, not a great presentation that you want to give a customer at a restaurant. But she continues to refuse to sit at the table. And as she said, oh, I don't know what you're going to do. I look over to the table. I take a minute to think because, like, I really don't want to argue with this woman. I just want to go to the front of the restaurant and continue to go back to my job and help my coworker. So I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and clean the table. On my end, I kind of effed up when, you know, instead of telling her that the table she wants to sit at is reserved, which it was, you know, I should have mentioned that. Even though I felt like even if I mentioned that, she still would have made it a problem because she was literally stern on not sitting at the table. But I just go ahead and decide to clean up the table she wants to be sat. It took me about a good 2 minutes because, like I said, the table was dirty. Like, it had some stuff on it, but it wasn't like it was anything too crazy because it's only like a 4-person table. So I go clean it up. I go sit the family at the table, the girl, the boyfriend, the 2 kids, or whatever. So I sat them at the table. The boyfriend was the only one that was being nice, and he said thank you. So I continued on about my jolly day. Around 10 minutes later, as she mentioned, I sat the table that was reserved from at the table she didn't want to sit at. So I did a little switcheroo. It wasn't anything too crazy because, like, the other party was a party of 4. Both of the tables were 4 tops. So, you know, I told my coworker what happened and everything, and she was okay with it. So, just a little switcheroo. They had no complaints about the table. They, you know, sat down and went on about their day. They weren't mad about it. So, it just goes to show the lady was being very difficult and just a bitch altogether. So yeah, I continue to go to the front after I sit the next party down. I didn't even know why she mentions that in the review. They had nothing to do with her. She just thought that table was unseatable because it was next to a big party. Doesn't mean shit, but okay. So as I, you know, walk to the front, minutes go by, and then the big party, they're mad, they get up. You know, I don't see, you know, the first reaction of them getting up. But I guess the server did not end up going to the table because it was two servers that were assigned to this whole section. You know, one had their half, one had the other half. You know, we communicate with our manager throughout, you know, our whole shifts on weekends, especially. Like, he knows what's going on. He's pretty much telling us, like, who is on break, who's off break. So as far as we know, the servers are both off of their break. So that's why we were seating people over there. But apparently, one of them, I guess, wasn't off break, and the other one didn't know what was going on because she had other things going on in the kitchen. I don't even remember. But I guess they didn't know what was going on. So she ended up going to the last person that I sat rather than the other two parties. So that's when the big party walks out. One of the gentlemen from that party says something to my coworker. I don't even remember what he said, but I guess he says something of, we waited all around this amount of time, it didn't get no service, and he kind of said it very aggressively and continued to walk out. Now this is where stuff gets real. So the party with the lady with the bad attitude was right after them, as she said. I felt like it was kind of like a chain reaction type of thing. Them seeing somebody mad and then like a little bunch of little followers, they follow right after. So yeah, they walk after them, and the boyfriend had the audacity to call me out of my name. So he looks at me and he says, "Nice seating, you dumb bimbo." Dumb bimbo? Okay, first of all, who says that? Like, is this 2020? Yes, it is very much an insult, which is why I reacted the way I did. I know it is a degrading word towards women. Black people obviously don't say that. It's obviously something white people still say, I guess, especially in the state of Washington, where people are very passive aggressive and overall just weird. Like, who says that? Like, I mean, yes, it could have been way worse. Like, he could have called me a bitch, and that probably would have got me riled up even more. And I'm pretty sure that's what he wanted to say, but since his children were right there, you know, he didn't say that. And I guess it's the fact, like I said, they had waited a long time. Their kids were hungry. I mean, if y'all wanted fast service and if your children had to eat ASAP, why didn't you go to McDonald's or somewhere faster, or even cook at home? Like, you really want to trust restaurants all the time to eat? Like, why come to a restaurant on a busy day and expect to get the fastest service? I don't understand that type of logic. But yeah, he calls me a dumb bimbo. And first of all, like, yeah, bimbo is not a great thing to call somebody. I wasn't really completely upset about that, but just the fact that you put dumb in front of it. Don't call me dumb. Like, I'm not dumb. That whole situation had nothing to do with me. Like, For one, I wasn't even the one who assigned y'all that seat. And secondly, it's not my fault that the servers didn't come to the table. That's on them. Like, that's where they fucked up at. You know what I'm saying? I had nothing to do with the whole situation. I was the one who did what I was told, and I did what I could to try to make y'all happy, because I really didn't have to do that, because your girlfriend wanted to make my life a living hell on my shift, making a problem for me when I have so many other things to do. And I went out my way just to make sure y'all were happy, when I really shouldn't have. Like, I just should have just sat y'all right there, especially when that table wasn't even reserved for you. Y'all didn't even have a reservation. Y'all came in as a walk-in and just expect to have the tip-top service on a Saturday. But yeah, like, calling me dumb, I'm not fucking dumb. What is wrong with you? So then at that very moment, I snapped. I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, I'm not gonna raise my voice and act it out exactly how I did it, because people are asleep. But who the fuck are you talking to? And then he's like, you. I'm talking to you. And then I'm like, motherfucker, you better watch who the fuck you talking to. Like, jumping up and everything. Like, I wasn't doing that much, but you know, I walked on the side of my desk a little bit, because at that point I was riled up. Like, you really got me messed up right now to even call me out of my name on my job and be disrespectful when the manager is already kind of trying to help you out with this situation. I also want to add, in addition, that I understood exactly why they were upset with not getting the service that they needed, with waiting over 15 minutes before, you know, somebody even greets them. I completely understand that, especially, like, you know, if you're going out to a restaurant, you want to receive great quality service. Anybody does. And I completely get that they're mad, and I know that's kind of bad on the service end for not showing up to the table. So don't think that I didn't like resonate with how the customer was feeling or anything. I just felt like they took it out on the wrong person and handled it the wrong way, because like I said, the manager was right there. Like, you should have spoke to the manager like any other person would. Instead of taking it out on me, why didn't you talk to my manager? Like, most Karens and Bobs would just be like, let me speak to your manager. But nah, you decided to take it up with me, and you really messed up. You messed up because you're freaking out of your mind to call me out of my name, and then to call me that. You're a whole man, disrespecting a female, and I'm like 5'1", I'm real little and everything, in front of your 2 kids. Like, how are you gonna cause a scene in front of your children like that and expect to not get a consequence? And they want to throw in, like, in front of my kids, you exchange hostile words towards my kids. Well, for your kids, whenever your kids get older, because they were like real young, probably no older than 4 years old, that's a lesson that they need to learn. Whenever they get older, they can't go out here disrespecting folks and calling people out of their name and doing all types of entitled bullshit and expect not to get a consequence. So that's a lesson that they're gonna need to learn in life regardless. Especially y'all. Like, that's a lesson y'all need to learn. You are a bad example for your children to even go out to a restaurant and act that way. To act that way. You have no morals, you have no class, you have no dignity, and you just have the audacity to be disrespectful to somebody who's trying to help you right in front of your children. To do that to a woman. And I'm gonna rant on later on in this video, but they had me messed up. You know, I didn't go completely from behind the counter, but I was riled up. I was ready, just in case his girlfriend had anything to say, because I was ready to snatch that bitch up and whoop her ass right then and there, and I wouldn't have even give a fuck if I was going to be fired or not. Obviously I didn't, because you're not about to disrespect me and get away with it. No, I was getting paid like $13.50 an hour. Like, I could easily find a better job, okay? I could easily always find a better way to make money. I'm not even working right now, and even though it kind of hurts, but I'm good. I didn't care. I didn't care. Like, I don't get paid enough for that, you know? You're not about to do that. You're not about to do that. And yes, you know, I probably should have used a better choice of words. I should have handled it in a more classier way. By that I mean, not by not saying anything at all. Something would have been said regardless. Maybe a cuss word still would have been equated, but maybe I should have said something as of such, like, you don't talk to me like that in front of your children. I'm a female. What the fuck is wrong with you, type of thing. You know, I should have did it in a, you know, a better way, you know, especially me working for some place, you know. So, yes, I got out of character. That's what happened. As you know, I'm cussing them out. They're proceeding to walk out the restaurant because I'm just waiting for something to happen, and the girlfriend just standing there looking stuck in the face, not saying anything. And you know, the guy stops arguing with me and continues to walk out. I think I said a couple of other things, but I don't even remember. So yeah, they walk out the restaurant. I proceeded to go on with my night. As I get off of work, I walk outside and something else weird happens. I walk to my car. I got free food that night because my manager knew what I went through, so he let me just eat for free. So I go to my car, and from a distance, I see 3 people walking towards the restaurant, okay? It's raining outside. It's pitch black dark. It was like 8 o'clock p.m. And I hear somebody mumble MF. And then I'm looking around, trying to see who else is out there, because I didn't recognize a face or anything. I just see, you know, it's a change of clothes and everything. I don't even recognize the guy. And then I see some guy point towards me. And as he's pointing towards me, I'm just like, who is he talking to? I was a little slow right there. Because I'm just like, what? You know? So then I hear, I guess it was a lady he was with. It didn't look like the girlfriend at all. She had short hair and she was like kind of stubby. And she was like, why you pointing at her? And laughing, ha ha ha. Like they were, you know, laughing. And, you know, they were walking away kind of fast. And I didn't have enough time to react. Because then it clicked that somebody was talking to me and pointing at me. Like, to even point at me, you deserve to get slapped. But, you know, it's raining outside. It's pitch black. It's like 3 people against 1 little person. I had no weapons or nothing on me. And I have a taser, but that's like in my car. And like, you know, they walk off into the restaurant. So I thought that was really weird. So I'm guessing that he came back to try to get his last word, and came back with different people to eat in the restaurant, because I didn't even know it was him. But who else could it be? Because like, that's the only person I got into it with that day. So a couple of days later, on a Monday, I believe, I come back to work. I didn't get talked to or anything. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get fired. Nothing. Like, nothing happened. So as I'm doing my job in the front of the restaurant, I have a coworker. She's a server. I guess we were talking about something, and then she mentioned that it was a review in the kitchen, like in the back of the restaurant where everybody, you know, does their job at, to-go orders and all that. And I'm just like, oh, what is it about? Like, is it good? Is it bad? I kind of knew at the back of my head it was about me because, like, I'm the only person who got into it with somebody. I already knew, but I guess, wanted to confirm. And she was just like, So I just walked to the kitchen and I read it. And as I'm reading it, it's just funny. Like, it's just like, wow, this bitch is so entitled. Like, she is, before the Karen thing even became a thing, like, this girl is a Karen and that's a Bob. Such a Bob, such a Karen. And I take a picture of it because I knew I was going to tell a story about it. Like, are you freaking kidding me? I already read y'all the whole thing. I'm going to just go over a couple of key points that really got me messed up. Clearly, in this review, she did not once mention what caused me to react the way I did. All she mentions is that I exchanged hostile words to her family. But you didn't mention why. Like, first of all, bitch. First of all, why would I just go out and call a customer MF while I'm at my job? Like, do you think I want to get fired for no reason? And you think I would just do that for no reason? Like, why would anybody just cuss out anybody for no reason on their job? Like, we're not going to get fired or get written up, you know? Like, why would I do that on purpose? You know what I'm saying? And I have no respect for this woman because not only by the fact that she didn't mention what caused me to react that way, but clearly she just stood by her husband's side, her boyfriend's side, like he did nothing wrong. Like, for one woman to another, we go through a whole lot in America, especially a black woman. We're clearly not protected. And for you to sit there and witness a whole man, big ass man at that, call me all types of names right in front of me, and just sit there and think it's okay, not correct him for any of that he did. Nothing. I don't know what kind of conversations they have alone back at home or whatever, but clearly she didn't correct him. For her to even put that on the review, that I called him an MF, it didn't even mention why I called him an MF, what caused me to react that way. Like, I would just do that for no reason. Like, you're defiling my character, and I probably should sue her for that. It just made me, want to find this woman. Like, I literally tried to go on the internet and look for her because I really wanted to exchange hands with her at that point. Like, I just wanted to whoop her ass because I have no respect for you. I have no respect for you. We go through so much here where men do so many things to women and don't get any consequences for it, and then a lot of times we're treated like liars, especially black women. And you already know what that situation going on with Megan and Tory. Like, that's a whole nother story, but clearly you see how the comments are. You see how people are more so on his side than her side, and she's the one who got shot in the foot. That's kind of how it is for us, especially the black woman. And she's not black, but we are both females, and she should at least understand that. So I have no respect for her. She's lucky I didn't put her whole name out there. She lucky that I couldn't find her ass. But also with another thing, I feel like my job didn't do their part. My manager said he was going to talk to the guy. I don't know if he ever did, because apparently he knows him. And then a couple of days later, or at least a week later, I find out that he got transferred to another restaurant. And he was like the only manager that was like cool. Like, he would let us get away with certain things sometimes. we didn't really get in trouble with him, and he was very supportive when it comes to like moving up in the workplace and everything. The other managers were, they were okay. So I'm guessing whoever, typed that probably wasn't even him. But the fact that even though I didn't get in trouble and anything like that, she still typed that stuff at the bottom. Like it was just unacceptable how I reacted or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't have said the words I said, but I had a reason. Like, why not, tell the customer how they were wrong for what they did to me? And workplaces in general do not protect their employees. Like, for what I be seeing, like, these customers are getting real reckless in this pandemic. A security guard got shot for telling somebody to wear a mask. Walmart employees are getting assaulted. All Food Lion workers are getting assaulted. Where are the managers at? I mean, for the video where the Food Lion worker got assaulted, the manager did step in, but I don't feel like y'all are stepping in fast enough. Like, you gotta at least call the police. Like, you ban the person from the restaurant. You gotta go, type of thing. Like, I don't see why customers are getting away with the things that they do just because they're customers. Like, the customer is not always right. I really don't care about that statement, especially when they're being completely disrespectful, violent, rude, and obnoxious. Like, there's a certain way that you should treat people regardless of who you are, what color you are, if you're the customer, the employee, the manager. Like, you just don't treat people a certain way. And I feel like this is why I don't want to work for customer service anymore. I'm only doing it just so I can have some income, but I really just don't. I'd rather be an entrepreneur. But it's just sad. And like, once lockdown took into place, I was out of work for about a month and a half. And I was about to go back there because, like I said, I wasn't fired. But I just decided not to. For like so many other reasons. But that one right there, I feel like they really didn't do their part. Because he's a whole man. Like, it's no telling what he could have done to me. He clearly kept trying to antagonize me even after the fact. Because obviously they see a black female working there. They came there several times. I never heard about them. I never dealt with them before. And clearly they didn't have issues with the other coworkers. So the fact that, they treated me like that so quickly and easily, obviously they're probably racist. I'm not going to put that past them. I am the only full black girl that was working there. There are, a couple of mixed people that work there. But, they're very, very light, and you can't really tell that they're mixed with any type of black. Like, anything, you'll probably think they're Latina or something. But even though I'm light-skinned, I have the afro curly hair. Like, I'm fully black, So I just felt like, I wasn't really treated as equal as some of the people there. And like, a lot of times, like, people were treating me unfair and I didn't get the justice that I needed. But anytime I retaliated after somebody said certain things to me, they were quick to talk to me about how I retaliated, but they didn't talk to them about what they did to even cause me to react a certain way. I am not confrontational. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not confrontational. I don't start problems. I don't start arguments. I don't start fights. However, it took me a while to finally learn to stand up for myself. And now that I do, I don't hesitate to do so because I can't let people just treat me any type of way and smile it off or continue to let it happen. Because a lot of times when I have, just brush things off, people continue to still treat me bad. And now that I've started to defend myself, people would treat me bad, but once I stood up for myself, they didn't try that with me again. So it is what it is. Like, if you're an employee, if you work somewhere, it doesn't matter if it's a manager, co-worker, employee, like customer. Don't let nobody disrespect you or treat you any type of unfair or unequal to anybody else. You have a right to have your voice and speak on whatever it is that you're feeling, because you deserve to feel like you're treated with respect anytime, anywhere you go. Anywhere you go. No matter what you're doing. Always speak up for what you believe in. And yeah, hopefully I didn't leave anything out. I think I mentioned everything. Yeah, I mentioned pretty much everything. So this is my last time filming this video. If y'all enjoyed this story time, hit that like button, subscribe, become part of the fam. And I will have other story times coming up whenever, you know, I come up with them. I don't have like a whole lot, but every once in a while, I'll throw one in there, because when I do have stories, they're very interesting and they will have you like, wow, man. But yeah, I will see y'all later, and
do the dash in it, throw some cash in it, yeah. Let me smash in it.